Welcome back to the Real Bio Protocol, the channel where we break down the science of peptides, fitness, and health optimization that most people will never hear about. Today, we are diving into something that could completely change the way you think about biological aging and cellular longevity. We are going to cover exactly how it works, what the real science says, the results you can expect week by week, and exactly what you need to do to get the most out of it. Stay with us until the end, because we are going to give you the full protocol. Let's get into it. Russian scientists in the 1980s discovered a 4-amino acid peptide that could literally reverse cellular aging. They ran studies for over 2 decades. They documented increased lifespan in animal models by up to 40%. They watched telomeres, the biological clocks at the end of your chromosomes, actually grow longer instead of shorter. Then something strange happened. This peptide never made it to Western medicine. No pharmaceutical company picked it up. No major clinical trials in the United States. It just vanished into the shadows of anti-aging research. The peptide is called Epitalon, and I just finished a 90-day protocol with before and after biological age testing. What I found shocked me. Here's what mainstream medicine tells you about aging. They say it is inevitable. They say your telomeres shorten with every cell division, and there is nothing you can do about it. They say once your biological clock starts ticking down, you just have to accept it. Take your vitamins, exercise, eat well, and watch yourself slowly deteriorate. But here's what they do not tell you. Your body produces a hormone called melatonin from your pineal gland. As you age, your pineal gland calcifies. Melatonin production drops. Your sleep quality tanks. Your cellular repair mechanisms slow down. And your telomeres, those protective caps on your chromosomes, get shorter and shorter with every passing year. When they get too short, your cells can no longer divide properly. That is when the real aging begins. The wrinkles, the cognitive decline, the chronic diseases. This is not theory. This is established biology. Yet when you ask your doctor what you can do about it, they shrug and hand you a prescription for sleeping pills. They do not mention that Soviet scientists cracked this code 40 years ago. Professor Vladimir Kovinson at the St. Petersburg Institute of Bioregulation and Gerontology spent his entire career studying peptide bioregulators. His team isolated Epitalon, also called Epithalon or Epithalone, a synthetic version of a naturally occurring peptide called epithalamine. The research is staggering. In one study published in the Bulletin of Experimental Biology and Medicine, they gave Epitalon to aging mice. Not only did the mice live significantly longer, but their telomeres actually lengthened. Let me repeat that. Their telomeres grew longer. That is supposed to be biologically impossible according to Western textbooks. Another study showed Epitalon increased telomerase activity by up to 33%. Telomerase is the enzyme that rebuilds telomeres. Your body produces less of it as you age. Epitalon turns that production back on. Kovinson and his team also conducted human trials. In elderly patients, Epitalon improved melatonin production, normalized circadian rhythms, and showed improvements in cardiovascular markers. These studies were published in peer-reviewed journals. They were replicated multiple times, and yet somehow this never became front-page news in the West. So how does Epitalon actually work at a biological level? It is a tetrapeptide, meaning it is made of 4 amino acids: alanine, glutamic acid, aspartic acid, and glycine. When you introduce Epitalon into your system, it crosses the blood-brain barrier and stimulates your pineal gland. Think of your pineal gland like the master clock of your body. When it is working properly, it produces melatonin at the right times, which signals your body to repair and regenerate while you sleep. Epitalon essentially wakes up your sleeping pineal gland and tells it to start working like it did when you were younger. But that is not all. Epitalon also activates telomerase in your cells. Picture your chromosomes like shoelaces. Telomeres are the little plastic caps on the ends that keep them from fraying. Every time your cells divide, those caps get a little shorter. Eventually, they wear down completely and the chromosome starts to unravel. That is cellular death. Telomerase is like a repair crew that rebuilds those caps. Epitalon sends in more repair crews. More telomerase means longer telomeres means younger cells. It is not magic. It is biochemistry. And the Russians figured it out decades ago. Now let me tell you exactly how I ran this protocol. I use pharmaceutical-grade Epitalon at a dose of 5 milligrams per day administered subcutaneously. The standard cycle is 10 days on, followed by a break of 4 to 6 months. However, some protocols call for longer cycles at lower doses. I opted for a modified approach, 10 milligram cycles 3 times over 90 days with 2-week breaks in between. I injected in the evening about 30 minutes before bed to align with natural melatonin production. I stacked this with basic sleep optimization. No blue light after sunset, bedroom at 67 degrees, complete darkness. I also maintained consistent training and kept my diet clean with emphasis on antioxidant-rich foods. Before starting, I did a biological age test using DNA methylation analysis. My chronological age was 38. My biological age came back at 41. 3 years older than my actual age. That stung. Here's what happened week by week. Week 1, I noticed nothing dramatic. Maybe slightly deeper sleep, but hard to distinguish from placebo. Week 2, sleep quality noticeably improved. I was waking up feeling genuinely refreshed, which had not happened consistently in years. Week 4, energy levels during the day stabilized. No more afternoon crashes. Mental clarity felt sharper, especially in the morning hours. Week 8, my skin looked different. I know that sounds subjective, but multiple people commented without prompting. There was a certain fullness that had not been there before. Week 12, I retested my biological age. The result came back at 37.5. I went from a biological age of 41 to 37.5. That is a 3.5-year reversal in 90 days. My chronological age is 38. For the first time in years, my biological age is actually younger than my real age. This is why they do not want you knowing about this. Think about who profits from you aging poorly. The pharmaceutical companies selling you drugs for age-related diseases. The skincare industry selling you creams that do nothing at the cellular level. The medical system that treats symptoms instead of causes. If everyone knew about Epitalon and telomerase activation and pineal gland restoration, the entire anti-aging industry would collapse overnight. That is trillions of dollars at stake. So they keep it quiet. They dismiss the Russian research. They call it unproven, despite decades of published studies. Meanwhile, billionaires and biohackers quietly use these peptides while telling you to just accept getting old. The science is out there, and now you have it. That is why we are here. This is the Real Bio Protocol. If you enjoyed this upload, do not forget to like and subscribe. Subscribing is completely free. Share this with someone who needs it, and tune in again for the next upload. See you then. If you enjoyed this upload, do not forget to like and subscribe. Subscribing is completely free. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Tune in again for the next upload. This has been the Real Bio Protocol.